All right, it's 3:05 Leland Live, talking 995 Birmingham Broker, bringing you the show this hour, bhambroker.com. If you've got a car to sell or a truck to sell or trade this year, as you get cranked up doing your car deals every now and then, it's just time. Y'all let Craig or Keith take care of that for you. They're going to represent you in the deal. They're going to handle the transaction. They're going to get you more money, specifically more than you're going to get if you go trade one in, but also more than even if you try to do it on your own. Now, some of y'all might be wheelers and dealers and know how to haggle and like doing that stuff. Good on you. I hate it. And when it's time to trade, I'd rather let them do all that, get me maximum value, and then I go find one somewhere else whenever it's time to trade. I've had this old truck for a long time now. I think it's the longest I've ever kept the vehicle. My truck's fine. I've had it 10 years. But Craig, when I did that deal before I bought that thing, he helped me with the truck I had before that and got me $2,000 more on that deal. And if I ever decided to get rid of this one, he's going to sell it for me. He just did a SUV deal for us. Mama had to have a third row. There's a stage in life where you got to have as much booty room as you can. And so Craig helped us with that deal. Helped my son sell his Jeep when he cried the day he had to sell his Jeep because he had to move to the big city and he couldn't take a car with him. I told AJ before, he didn't even cry when he left me, but he did cry when he had a tear when he gave that Jeep up. He loved his Jeep.
I mean, come on. That was his first car?
It was no, it was just sort of his first nice car. He had a junker like the rest of us in high school.
Yeah.
But he got this Jeep post-college while he was in med school, and he had to give it up.
Now, did he pay that out of his own money, right?
Hell no.
Oh, okay. Never
My
mind.
kid.
I was trying to figure out why he was crying like that. But
no, he just emotionally attached
I got
to
it.
it.
I got it.
Yeah, these kids are spoiled, man. I paid my own car payment since I was 15 years old. It's just the way it is.
Look, well, I know you're talking about Birmingham Broker, but you know what? I got a B 2500 truck.
You still got that truck?
Oh, I still got that bad boy.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
All right then.
And I'm gonna keep it till literally till the wheels fall off, but and then I'll just replace it because you don't find trucks like that.
Dude, years from now, somebody's going to come along and want to buy. The thing will go up in value if you just hang on to it. Let the rest of them hit the junkyard. Somebody will want one.
Yeah, I have had a couple of people already ask me about it, and I was like, no, I'm good. I'm gonna keep it. I'm gonna teach my son how to drive because he's gonna have to learn how to drive stick. We're probably gonna be driving flying cars by that time.
Well, make him learn how to drive a stick anyway.
He's still gonna have to learn how to drive a stick. It makes you a better driver.
I told you, my son, who, by the way, I like to brag on him sometimes, but I mean, he's been to the most elite institutions in the world to study science and medicine. I mean, all of them, all the big ones. Graduated from some, attended some, bounced around, did research. He is a highly trained surgeon now, about to be out finally in his fellowship year, on his way to doing that. So he's great. He comes home on one of his breaks. I rarely get to see him because these guys just work their tails off in med school all the time. They just brutalize them to see if they can handle the pressure. He gets home, and I had this little stick shift Jeep.
Yep.
I still had that thing, the motor blew out in it. I need to get rid of it. But he wanted to drive it. And he gets in, and he cannot handle the stick shift. And I felt like a failed father. It's like, man, he's highly successful, but the boy can't drive a stick. I feel like I didn't do right by him. I mean, he just keeps snatching it and putting it in the wrong gear. Just going, like, dude, calm down. I tried to teach him. He didn't want any more part of it. See, kids, they're only – how do we get off on this? It's funny to me. There are only about there's only 4 or 5 vehicles now that are still stick shifts that brand new that you can buy in manual.
Oh, really?
There's not many at all. There's a few sports cars.
Yeah.
And I think maybe a couple of trucks. I'm not even sure Jeep still makes them anymore. Maybe they do. But it's just not a thing anymore. Kids don't even know about it.
No one does. And anytime you bring one up, like, oh my God, what is that? And I'm like, it's just a stick shift. This is what we had to drive before. You had 2 options. You had your automatic and then you had your manual.
That was it.
And you get to pick and choose which car you want to drive, And
the good thing about a manual is if it won't crank, you can push it off. Jump in there and pop the clutch.
Yep.
Did that many times. I used to park on a hill in college. Mine would get weird, and I was so broke. And I would park on a hill, so if it ever I could play it off real cool, like I just kind of push my car off and jump in there. Did not want that to die on me in front of all the ladies back in the day, but that's the way it was.
Hey, you had to do what you had to do. But you know what? It got to where you need to get to. And
most of the time. Sometimes not. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes you still had to push it, but you know. But yeah, I love my little 4-speed truck.
I miss driving the stick shift. That's when the Jeep had some kind of blowout, and I just hadn't had time. I was going to drop a motor in it myself, and then I gave up on that idea. I was like, I'm going to put the thing in there myself, and then I was like, no, maybe not.
No.
The thing is, if I spent the money on like a crate motor and did the project, it would still not be worth what the motor would cost. The motor would still be worth what it was worth, so it's not feasible.
Mhm.
According to my buddy Scott over at Southern Off Road. So
Yeah.
there it sits under
Yeah.
my shed. Anybody want to get a Jeep? Anybody want a donor Jeep that needs a motor? Y'all can have it. I'm not saying you can have it, but for the right price.
Mhm.
Anywho, Birmingham Broker, let them handle that. Now, I've not tried to get Craig and Keith to sell that Jeep. I'm not sure they sell things that don't run. BHAMBroker.com, BHAMBroker.com. What a weird news afternoon. We're still following up on all this this tantalizing mystery surrounding this Nancy Guthrie mystery case. We've got a live event going on right in front of us in Utah where prosecutors and defense attorneys are fighting over it's really a preliminary hearing over evidence rules and what's going to be allowed in. A lot of national attention on that. I noticed Fox is still wall to wall with the questioning in the Charlie Kirk case. We would go to it, but we've just got too many other things. The House side has voted to get rid, by 217 to 214, to go along with the Senate's budget appropriation, and that avoids the shutdown. That bill will now go to the president to avoid the shutdown. But the bigger story there amongst the Republicans is John Thune. Yet last night was promising he would bring up the SAVE Act if they just go ahead and pass the clean version. I guess you call it the clean version in the House without changing it. They did that, and now he's backing off. He's crawfishing, saying, "Well, I'm just not sure we have the time now." It's the Republicans will eat each other and lose. They're going to lose the midterms. I'm just going to embrace y'all. I believe they're going to lose the midterms. They don't want to win the midterms. They got the message advantage. They got the money advantage. There's polling out today on the SAVE Act alone. Let me just go straight up political for a minute. I've got polling this afternoon on the SAVE Act that shows that every single race and political party support voter ID at the polls. You have been lied to that people think that's a bad idea. The Democrats as an organization don't want it. But when you poll their members, Democrats at 70, let's see. Let's do the race version of it. 76% of Black Americans want voter ID. You know why that is? Because like every American that goes and votes, you don't want your vote stolen. If somebody's going to vote and not show an ID, they're stealing. White voters, 85% want to see it. 82% of Latinos would like to see voter ID at the polls. You've got a 70-30 issue at minimal, 80-20 in some quarters, and John Thune cannot find him a way to somehow get this bill going. Now, functionally, the elected Democrats, again, they're not the same as their voters, just like the Republicans. You got Republicans like Thune that are elected in leadership, but he does not share the passion for this issue with his own base. You've got some Democrats that are in vulnerable positions that might have to go along with this kind of reform to our voting systems. But as a party, they have industrially ensconced some of these rules to give them a cheating edge, and they don't want to give it up. So they're stalling, and Thune is helping them along with some of the other Republicans. So it's a big, giant embarrassment. Let me see. Let's do some international stuff real quick while I set the table for this hour. We shot down an Iranian drone today. Things are getting a little dicey near Iran. Apparently, some of their patrol boats harassed a United States oil tanker. We had a Navy ship in the region, so the Navy ship came to the rescue and dealt with that. And then at one point, one of our military vessels was approached by an Iranian drone, and so we smoked that thing with an F-35. I bet the missile we shot cost 1,000 times more than the drone did. But we killed it, so there's that. There's a report tonight that Tulsi Gabbard is going to be put in charge, and I've got sound on this for later in the show. She's going to be put in charge of the voter security efforts here in the country this year, over the fraud investigations, over the voter rolls, over all the changes that are being looked at. Remember, she was on the ground in Atlanta when they raided the Fulton County ballot records. We're going to find out. We're going to find out. So you got these kind of stories going on here today. Here's a weird one. Out of all the things in the news, here's another weird one. Jill Biden's ex-husband I forget his name. His last name was Stevens, and I'm not sure how long she was married to him. It must have been 100 years ago because she met Joe when she was like what 17. I don't know. Her ex-husband is now being charged with murder for killing his current wife. That is just bizarre, and that's not to say it's connected to Jill Biden in any way, but what a weird family. That whole family is just strange. What strange connections for people that had somehow risen to the heights to which they were ensconced. What else we got? Blah, 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 New Orleans. Yeah, New Orleans just had a police recruit they had in the academy. They'd given him a gun. He was an illegal immigrant from Cameroon, and he had a deportation order. He'd already been told to get out of the country. He's on the New Orleans Police Department. I guess they got to do what they got to do in New Orleans. So that story flipped on them in a quick hurry. Do they even check anymore? Do they care? I don't know.
Probably not.
Guy might have made a fine officer if he'd have just came here the right way. Immigrate from Cameroon the right way. Come on in, bro. And we'd love for you to be a police officer, but that's an embarrassing story down in New Orleans. And then here's some lighter stuff for you. Ready? As we approach the Super Bowl, Doritos announced today that they're dropping the prices on their nasty chips by 15%.
Say what?
Yeah, we got deflation now going on. Thank you, Donald Trump.
Now, are they going to keep the bag the same?
Probably not.
Because a lot of times when they say they're going to drop it by 15%, it's going to be, oh, look at our new improved packaging. New package, same great taste.
That would be let's try to bust them doing that. That happened with my particular soap that I use, my body wash that I use. I had the old bottle in the shower, and I buy them in these little 2-packs, right? They kind of come together because I hate going out to the store, so I'll just get all I can on one run. So I bought a couple 2-packs. I get home with my 2-pack, and the new bottles are way smaller. I thought, well, that's kind of expensive. But I put the new bottle up there next to the old bottle, and they have shrunk the damn bottle. The bottle is smaller, and it was more. By the way, can I just throw this bone on the table? Have y'all seen your power bill? Have y'all seen your power bill yet? I'm just going to go ahead and tell you, because I get these little alerts from Alabama Power when mine's going to draft on a certain date, and here it comes. And they do an estimate of your previous month and how much your usage has gone up. It's up 50%. The bills are 50% higher, and I believe that's going to be an average based on the cold weather we've had, and people are really pissed off at the power company right now.
Where is the commission that manages all this?
They don't do it. PSC, that's a little no-show rubber stamp place.
They
don't do anything.
Come on, Twinkle, where you at?
She is fighting abortion or something. You remember she'd do all that in there. I'm like, you're on the PSC. What are you going to do, shut the power off at the abortion clinic? What are you doing? But so the PSC handed their authority over to the legislature over power company rates because they really passed a rate structure where they get automatic rate increases, but their percentage profit is capped, so they can work within a range. That makes sense. But when we have a peak demand like this, I don't know what that does to the actual rate, if the rate changes or it's just peak demand and we're all using, let's be real, we all used more power in the last 4 or 5 weeks because of that cold weather. Heat drives up your power bill more than anything in your home. And we've talked about this over the last few weeks, but mine, AJ, I'll just give you the numbers. Mine used to never be much over $200 because my house is really insulated, and for a time I lived alone. And now I got a whole crew and Noah's Ark, and there's a lot of things going on in my house, so there's constant electricity use. So it's gone up a little bit, but I've never. This time it's over $400. It was $150 higher than the last time.
That's crazy.
Yep. So y'all if you haven't seen your estimate or you haven't seen your bill come across, just brace yourself. I got family members that said they got $700 phone bills. Power bills from the power company. Here we go with that. Man, dude. I don't even know if my first house payment was $700. I'm trying to remember what my first little house I bought. I don't think the payment was like $800 or something. Now it's the power bill. Storm Restoration Roofing. Speaking of stuff on your home, man, if you've got a roof, and don't we all, You got to maintain it, and every now and then roofs age out. They have a lifespan, and it depends on the material and the type roofing and the elements and all this other stuff as to how much life you're going to get out of your roof. If you're smart, you're going to keep up with that, and from time to time, you're just going to do the replacement. If you need help with that and you need financing, my man Greg Nelson at Storm Restoration Roofing has companies that can come along and help you finance those projects and just get it knocked out. Those same companies can help you if you have an insurance claim. And sometimes that'll happen to you too out of nowhere. You got damage or something happens and you've got a legit claim, but you may not realize that in the fine print of that policy, it says you got a seven or $8,000 deductible. Hello, that's a stomach churning moment. Let Greg come out and do the project and get these companies to help finance that portion of the project. What you get with Greg is a veteran who's in his third decade, almost to completely 30 years into business. With half his family, he's got 10 kids. Most of them work with him, either on the roofs or in other aspects of the business. Now that's a family that puts their pride into what they do. It'll be done right. The project will be done right. You don't want a shoddy roof job. If it's not installed right, some of the manufacturer's warranties on these shingle products don't have to be honored if they're not put in right. So put it in with Storm Restoration, and you'll have some peace of mind on that. And one more thing, don't go call your adjuster if you have storm damage before you call Greg. Let him look at it with you because you want to file a claim. You want to know exactly how bad it is, be able to document everything. That's what the companies require. If you don't do it right, they'll turn you down. They'll just turn you down. That's their job, is to not have to overpay. So get your claim right and get your expert on it and take a look with Storm Restoration Roofing. Put this number in your phone too. Greg works on a straight up phone number. You ready? 205 542 3531. 205 542 3531. Storm Restoration Roofing. That's terrible, man. Why did they do that to my man's song? Who is that? We're
uh,
butchering a classic.
is Byron Sutton and
Yikes.
Billy Strings.
I love some Billy Strings, but come on, man. I guess they had to put their twist on it. Yeah, once again, Leland Live reminisces. I actually wrote a parody version of this song, the lyrics of which made the New York Times and the Chicago Tribune. True story. It was about a corporate raider that came down to Georgia, where the corporate headquarters for the big mill in our town back in the 80s was being raided by the dude that owned Fruit of the Loom. He came in and wanted a hostile takeover. So the people were ready to fight. So I did The Devil Went Down to Georgia. Called that man the devil. Me and my roommate, we recorded it in the middle of the night and played it on the radio for days. And then Charlie Daniels left a voicemail on somehow he got our phone number at our apartment where we lived and left a voicemail that he wanted to speak with us. We thought we were going to get sued. We didn't know what the rules were. We just wrote the song. And it turned out he liked it and was glad we did it and wanted to congratulate us. But we never got to talk to him. Pissed me off. True story.
Did you keep that voice
there
recorder?
There is one copy of that song my band Barry's mom recorded off the air. You know, you could put a cassette tape in a thing and just record your favorite radio station. She recorded the song from the air, from the radio one night, and that's the only place it exists in the world, and I haven't heard it in 30 years. He's got a copy of it somewhere.
Oh, wow.
We did it. Bill Farley went down to Georgia. He was looking for a meal to steal. His Fruit of the Looms was in a bind, and he was willing to make a deal. When he came across old Joe Lanier and his West Point Pepperell stock, I can remember some of the lyrics. All right, it's 3:30. Let's do the bottom of the hour. Man, we're just watching a lot of stuff. This thing about Nancy Guthrie and a possible ransom note has just blown that story right to the back to the front of the headlines today with everything else going on. I still don't know what to make of it. TMZ can be sketchy, but sometimes they get a break, and it's not unheard of for people doing nefarious things to communicate some of their demands through the media, but they could be getting punked. Who knows? We're watching it. We're watching all of it. Rain coming in too. Going to be slick on your ride home. It's just that kind of rain where it's just enough to make the road slick, but not enough to make people slow down. So watch it. People will be sliding around trying to make their way home tonight. 545-9950. If you want to get on the radio, we'll go to the phones when we come back. Leland Live. All right, it's 3:34 Leland Live, talking to NM5. Mandu bringing you the show tonight. Get it right, get it tight over at Mandu. If gyms have failed you, and they will fail you, because at some point you just can't do that kind of stuff. You don't need to be lifting weights and pulling things loose and popping loose stuff. Mandu can be the difference maker. It's electronic muscle stimulation. It's not cables and weights, but it is resistance training, and it will shape your body. Y'all, it's called Mandu. They're in downtown Homewood. Go see Paul and fill out the forms online. Make sure you're medically eligible, and let them help you out. Let them try it for free the first time, and then you may find out, whoa, that felt good. I feel tight. I'm going to do that again. And then you've signed up for one of their programs. And I'll be honest with you, it's so efficient. You can only do it for 15 minutes at a time and only every couple of days, but it works your whole body. They say it's the equivalent of 6 hours in the gym. That's good for people with mobility issues that can't do gyms, and people that have peaked out at the gym. You just can't get results anymore. You spend too much time in there. Try this. Mandu, Mandu, Mandu.com, Mandu.com. I got Billy Bob and Double R over here. You guys hang on for a second. Trump's now live at the White House. He is signing the bill to reopen the government. Let's hear a little bit of this live.
Remember, the Republicans did that. The Democrats did not do that. Republicans did it. And that's going to have a huge impact also on healthcare, because medicine, I mean, it's a big chunk of healthcare. And if you're bringing something down from $100 down to $20, $18, because we were subsidizing the entire world. And frankly, I had to get the countries to go along with it, and I had to threaten tariffs against them if they didn't approve. And the healthcare companies, who weren't easy either, but they said it doesn't matter because they'll never get the countries, because they didn't really want to do it. And I got the countries. I got every one of them. And really, people can't even believe it. But for the people standing behind me, if you use that alone, you should win. We should win the elections coming up. Anybody else? How about on this side?
You mentioned the IRS, Mr. President. Their behavior has been atrocious. If you think about leaking your tax returns, the tax returns of others, and never any accountability. I must have questioned Janet Yellen 4 times, 5 times under oath about this, and never an answer. We stripped $10 billion from the IRS in this bill that you just signed. And today, I launched an investigation with my staff on all of these contractors that are associated with the ones that allowed your information to be put out. These contractors that hire activists to come in and do their work. These corporations here in America that bring activists in to do their work. That's going to come to an end.
They did leak my tax returns. It was terrible. The good news is I paid a hell of a lot of tax. I paid tens of millions of dollars. I said, where are my accountants? I want to talk to my accountant. But they did. They leaked my tax return. They didn't do it in a nice way. They tried to get something out of it. No, they're bad people.
Accountability is coming, though. You think about the phone companies that leaked our telephone records, several of us here.
Right.
Verizon leaked my telephone records. You think about what's happened across the country. This is going to come to an end.
And we should have voter ID, by the way. We should have a lot of the things that I think everybody wants to see. Who would not want voter ID? Only somebody that wants to cheat. Think of it. We don't have voter ID. And the Democrats don't want it. And the reason they don't want it because they want to cheat. Because there's no reason in the world, and I love that debate, Lindsay. I love saying, well, why don't you want voter ID? And you watch them say, I don't know. I just
make them vote.
No, it's a terrible thing. So anyway, anybody else?
Well, Mr. President, you said you wanted to make America safer and more prosperous,
right.
and we have done it. More prosperity means more money in people's pockets, and they notice that every time they go to fill up with gas, and they're going to know it when they get their tax returns that this year are going to be at least $1,000, if not more, greater than it's been in the past, and that's a result of the work that you've done with this whole group. And in terms of America being safer, a number of us were at the border 2 weeks ago. The border is secure. No one is coming across, not the 10,000 we saw every day with Joe Biden. And the American people still, in overwhelming numbers, Republicans, Democrats, and independents all say illegal immigrant criminals need to be deported. And Mr. President, you're doing that.
And No tax on tips.
No tax on overtime, no tax on Social Security,
No tax on
more money
Think
in
of it.
people's pockets.
Think of it. And that was all the great big beautiful bill, as I call it, the great big beautiful bill. To me, that's what it is. And people are starting to realize it now. They're starting to see it.
They're
And
gonna see it in their
a tax deduction on if you buy a car, if it's made in America, only if it's made in America. The rest we don't care about so much. But you buy a car, you get an interest deduction. You borrow money, you get an interest tax deduction. And that is, you take interest, you deduct it against your tax. So to me, that's unbelievable for the people, unbelievable for our car companies, which is jobs. Anybody else out there?
Mr. President, the biggest part of this bill is our national security.
Right.
And thank you. The men and women who serve this country are grateful to you.
Absolutely.
We give them a pay raise. We're building more ships, as you said, planes, missiles. We need to defend this country, and you're doing a great job in leading us in the right direction.
Thank you very much. Katie, go ahead. You were going to say something?
Yeah, no, Mr. President, this is just unprecedented leadership. The fact that you got everyone to come together and actually get these bills across the finish line, you heard it from the Speaker that hasn't happened in a long time. So 96% of the government being funded, your priorities put in place, Mr. President, so that we can make the country safer, we can make it more prosperous, and not only can we make America great again, but we can tell people now America is back.
Yeah, it's a great, we'll never forget MAGA, and we're all with MAGA, but I thought this was very appropriate, right?
Love it.
Right?
Love it. Says everything.
Cindy,
You know, I forget we have the
Say
cameras
something.
there, Jen. I was eye
There's
rolling during
a
the Katie
hospital
Britzel
in
segment there. I'm
rural
sorry.
hospital
Sorry about
in
that.
Maple, Mississippi,
Right.
called Franklin County Hospital. It would have closed the end of this month without this bill. Thank you from everybody in Mississippi, especially Franklin County.
And we've covered the rural very well. Nobody ever thought it was possible because we had a lot of opposition from the Democrats, as you know, but nobody thought it was possible. That's great. How about it? Anybody back there? Tom?
Best budget for Native Americans ever, Mr. President.
Thank you.
Appreciate that help.
So we'll sign it, and if you would have some questions, or anybody up here?
Let me just piggyback.
All right,
This
so
rural
it's
America
mostly a gigantic ass kissing contest. I'm going to take a couple calls, AJ, and these senators are lined up to see who can smooch up the best. I mean, I'm glad they passed the thing, but this bill's not good. I mean, it does do some funding that's necessary, but there's a lot of crap in there as usual. Billy Bob's got a joke for us. What's up, Billy Bob?
Not much. I hope you're having a good day.
Yeah, I am.
Okay. This is two alligators. They're born on the same day. You know, just a couple of seconds apart. Okay. They said we'll meet back up in 5 years on this same log that we're sitting on now. So 5 years passed by. They pulled us to set up on the log up there. The other one looked up there and he said, well, man, you have grown in this last 5 years. He said, what have you been eating? He said, well, I've been eating people down at the golf course and stuff. And he said, well, what happened? Why are you still so small? And he said, well, I've been eating people down at the golf course too. But he said, he said, well, I grab them, I shake them, and then I eat them. He said, well, that's your problem right there. You're shaking them. He said, the only thing you eating is a suit and a briefcase. You ain't getting that because you shake all the crap out of them.
Thank you, Billy Bob. I appreciate that, buddy. The hell just happened on this radio show?
Now, I already
His phone
pre-screened
went
the
out.
joke.
He already told you the joke,
Yeah,
so you
so
knew
we-
when to hit the, that way
I
you knew when
did.
to hit the thing. Because I wouldn't have hit it yet. I've been waiting on the rest. Let's go back to Trump. He's taking questions. Thank you, Billy Bob.
Changes to the Department of Homeland Security. Have you agreed to any specifics?
Well, we have a secure border. In fact, we have 9 months now where nobody has come into our country illegally. Now, I don't know if I can believe that because, you know, you go from 25 million people to nobody, but the Democrats do that. You know, they're leaning left, the people that do that report. And for 9 months, they have said nobody has come into our. It is a strong, great border. We do have people coming into our country, but they're all coming in legally. You take a look at that and look at what was going on a year and a half ago on our border, where criminals were coming in, drug dealers were coming in, people from mental institutions were coming in. The worst, you know, they say the worst, I don't even know if I like the term, but the worst of the worst was coming into our country. And now we have virtually no, our country is It's beautiful to see. Even if you go down, some of you, I think, were down there a couple of weeks ago, and you couldn't believe it, right? Because you were there 2 years ago.
10,000 a day.
And 10,000 a day, and now you didn't even see anybody. Nobody comes up with saving lives because nobody comes up. They have to come through the jungles, and they're dying of all sorts of problems, including murder. And we have nobody coming in, and we're getting people out. That we have 11,888 murderers who came into our country. We're getting them out. We're getting them out fast. And the only place where there's a little bit of a problem, and I will tell you this, Minnesota, their crime because of us, because we've taken out thousands of criminals, their crime is down. Not because of anybody else, it's because of us. Their crime is down. But all over the country, wherever we're involved, we're getting criminals out of our country, and the crime rate now is the lowest it's been since 1900. That's 125 years, and that's despite the fact with an open border stupid policy, 25 million people, in my opinion, came into our country, and many of those people should not have been allowed to come into our country.
Mr. President. On Ukraine, Mr. President, yesterday you were talking about how Vladimir Putin had agreed to a pause during the cold weather. Overnight, those attacks have started up again. The worst.
It was Sunday to Sunday, and it opened up, and he hit him hard last night. No, he agreed. He kept his word on that. It's a lot. 1 week is, we'll take anything because it's really, really cold over there. But it was on Sunday, and he went from Sunday to Sunday.
Are you disappointed he didn't go further or go
I would like to I want him to end the war. I spoke to him. I want him to end the war.
Mr. President, as you're taking our questions, what exactly did you mean when you said that you should nationalize elections, and which 15 states are you talking about?
I want to see elections be honest, and if a state can't run an election, I think the people behind me should do something about it, because, if you think about it, a state is an agent for the federal government in elections. I don't know why the federal government doesn't do them anyway. But when you see some of these states about how horribly they run their elections, what a disgrace it is, I think the federal government, when you see crooked elections, and we had plenty of them, and by the way, we had them last time, but go to 2020 and look at the facts that are coming out. Rigged, crooked elections. If we have areas, take a look at Detroit, take a look at Pennsylvania, take a look at Philadelphia. You go take a look at Atlanta. Look at some of the places that horrible corruption on elections. And the federal government should not allow that. The federal government should get involved. These are agents of the federal government to count the votes. If they can't count the votes legally and honestly, then somebody else should take over.
But the Constitution says it should be states that administer elections, Mr. President. That's what the Constitution says.
They can administer the election, but they have to do it honestly.
Are you open to negotiating on warrants when it comes to ICE? This is an ask from Senator Schumer. Requiring search warrants for ICE and immigration officials.
I haven't even done it. I'm not thinking about search warrants. Yeah, Lindsey Graham is going to answer that.
No, it makes no sense. If we have to get a search warrant to get 15 million people out, Schumer's telling me he doesn't want them out. It's the most ridiculous idea. They do have some good ideas, I think. But I've got a better idea. It's your idea. In sanctuary cities. On immigration, I know what I'm talking about. I've got the scars to prove it. Y'all are playing like Biden didn't exist. Y'all won't tell the American people about Lake and Riley.
By the way, Lindsey Graham was part of that gang of 14 that tried to do us in with amnesty. He really got the name Lindsey Grahamnesty back in those days. What a poser. Back to the live coverage.
Stick to your guns. If you got reforms that make ICE better, more professional, talk to me. But you should embrace what I'm suggesting. As long as 12 states have sanctuary policy, they'll keep coming. Unfortunately, you won't be president forever. These magnets of illegal immigration have to go. There is no upside to sanctuary city unless you're a complete radical nut job. The cops hate it. Fraud around sanctuary cities, and you're going to get more illegal immigration. We're going to have a debate. I've been trying to solve this problem, but what the Democrats are doing is they're not getting to the underlying problem. It's not Stephen Miller. It's not Chrissy Nome. It's not me. It's not you. It's policies that have been on the books that don't work. So if you want to debate on how to solve this problem, show up next week. I'm going to take President Trump's idea that it's time to end the insane policy of sanctuary cities. We're going to take it to the floor and we're going to vote, and people in November are going to get to see who they trust to keep the border secure.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're witnessing a live hostage situation in the Oval Office where Lindsey Graham has taken the whole room hostage.
I hope you're going to press that very hard. And the other thing, we are not, well, we are with you. I think everybody's with you. It's a sanctuary for criminals. That's who it is. They could make our lives so much easier. All they have to do is hand over their criminals, hand over people that came into our country illegally that are murderers, that came out of jails, that came out of mental institutions, that are drug dealers. I can't believe in Minnesota that they want to have murderers walking all over the streets. I just don't believe it. Maybe somebody says it's good politics. I don't think it's good politics. I think it's really bad. The other thing we can't lose sight of is you probably have in Minnesota, and it's worse in some places like California, $19 billion in fraud. And we're going to find out, you know, we're very deep into that investigation, but we're not going to forget that. A lot of people think that a lot of this nonsense that's going on is to try and, you know, hide what's going on with respect to the fraud. They have at least $19 billion. You know, you're hearing 9. Now I'm hearing it's 19, and it's probably much more. So it's you know, they talk about incompetence. I think it's not incompetence. I think it's just pure fraud. These are dishonest people. They're bad people. I think they hate our country, and we're going to get to the bottom of it. But don't let this hide the fact that you have tremendous fraud. And, you know, if we find the fraud in this country, you'll have a balanced budget without even cutting anything. You'll literally have a balanced budget. Yeah, please.
Mr. President, Colombia, are you planning to work with President Petro to fight guerrilla groups and terrorist organizations in Venezuela?
Well, they want me to do that, and we will. We're getting along very well in Venezuela with the leadership. Very, very well. You know, we took in 50 million barrels of oil. It's right now heading to Houston. And we're getting along very well with them, but we're going to work with them, yes.
Mr. President, a few months ago, you had in your office here Peter Mandelson, the British ambassador. You were shaking hands with him over a trade deal. He's today been forced to resign from the House of Lords, the upper house of the British Parliament, over his links to Jeffrey Epstein. Just wondered if you had any reaction to that, since obviously he was...
I didn't know about it, but I really don't know too much about it. I know who he is. It's too bad. You know, speaking of Epstein, I will say this. A reporter named Wolf and Epstein conspired. This just came out yesterday in the millions of pages of documents, how crazy this is. Conspired against me in order to fight like hell to make sure I lose the election. That's the only thing that was mentioned about me. Now, about Democrats, some really bad stuff. But about me, that Wolf, whoever Wolf is, he wrote a couple of books, and Epstein conspired against me. Did you know that, Mr. Senator?
I did know that.
They conspired against me so I lose the election, or worse.
Before the reported.
So that takes care of Epstein as far as Trump is concerned, but you got a lot of Democrats out there that are very much involved with Epstein. But I'll be honest with you, you got to get back to running the country, too.
Did you
millions and millions every week. You know, when Epstein was alive, nobody cared about him. When he's dead, they care about him. But it's really a Democrat problem. It's not a Republican, it's a Democrat problem. The only problem Republicans have is that we have to get back to, number one, running our country, and then number two, very importantly, letting the public know what a great job we're doing. We have the greatest economy in the history of the world. We have $18 trillion being spent. The record was $3 trillion many years ago, not by us, by another country. I won't say the country. Yeah, please.
Did you read those new files, Mr. President, that came out?
Have you been briefed on Savannah Guthrie's mom missing in Arizona?
I think it's terrible.
Would you commit to more federal agents, like helping out on the search?
Sure.
Is this guy going through puberty? Why, are these all beta male reporters? We're going to stick with this. This is pretty good stuff. Hang in there.
But we're going to find out.
Have you heard anything?
Yeah, what do you want?
On the Epstein files, you talked about Democrats who were in there. Elon Musk was also in there, and so was your Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick, and correspondence that he had with him. Did you read those new files that were published by the Department of Justice?
I have a lot of things I'm doing. You know, a lot of things I'm doing. I don't know. You mentioned two names. I'm sure they're fine. I'm sure they're fine. Otherwise, it would have been major headlines.
A lot of women who are survivors of Epstein's are unhappy with those redactions that came out. Some of them entire witness interviews are totally blacked out. Do you think that they should be more transparent?
The fact that they thought they released too much. I heard that, and you tell me something else. No, I think it's really time for the country to get onto something else. Really, now that nothing came out about me, other than there was a conspiracy against me, literally, by Epstein and other people. But I think it's time now for the country to maybe get onto something else.
But what would you say to people who feel like they haven't gotten justice, Mr. President?
Something that people care about. Yeah, what did you say? Go ahead.
What would you say to the survivors who feel like they haven't gotten justice?
You are the worst reporter. No wonder CNN has no ratings because of people like you. She's a young woman. I don't think I've ever seen you smile. I've known you for 10 years.
This is that chick on CNN that everybody hates from Prattville. What's her name?
Because you're not telling the truth, and you're a very dishonest organization, and they should be ashamed of you.
These are survivors of a sexual abuse.
Health care, and the bill that was just passed does not include your health care savings account. So this is a question for you, and maybe for Mr. Speaker as well.
I'm so proud of the health care savings accounts because it's going to happen. And hopefully, instead of insurance, and I hope this happens, and I hope you guys can do it, let the insurance companies not do quite as well. They're going up 15, 16, 17, 100%. Think of it. The money should be paid directly to the people. Trillions of dollars goes out. The money should go to the people. They should buy their own health care. It can be in a health care, account, savings account, any account you want to make. The money should go to the people. The people should buy their own health care, and they're going to save a lot of money, and they're going to have much better health care. And it's very simple. The problem is the Democrats are owned by those insurance companies. They're owned lock, stock, and barrel. And the Democrats will never vote on it because the Republicans should get that through. And you know how you get it through? The filibuster. Get rid of the filibuster and start voting. Yes.
Mr. President, today we heard that the Clintons set deposition dates to testify before the House Oversight Committee. Any reaction to that related to that?
I think it's a shame, to be honest. I always liked him. Her, yeah. She's a very capable woman. She was better in debating than some of the other people, I will tell you that. She was smart woman. I hate to see it in many ways. I hate to see it, but then I look at me. They went after me like, they wanted me to go to jail for the rest of my life. Then it turned out I was innocent, very innocent. I had a friend that said, a very smart friend. He's a very wealthy man, knows the life, streetwise guy. He said, you have to be the most honest person anywhere in the world because there's never been anybody who's been examined up and down. I had hundreds of thousands of pages of documents, millions of pages. With all of that, they found absolutely nothing wrong. Remember, his tax returns, they fought for years and years. And then the Supreme Court, I was surprised, they ruled I had to give my tax returns. I'm the only one that had to ever do that. But I had to give my tax returns. I gave my tax returns. They hired the best accounting firms in the world. They found nothing. And this friend of mine said, you have to be the most honest person in the world. He actually said, me referring to him, I'm a pretty honest guy, but I could have never withstood that. They've gone through millions and millions of pages, and here I sit winning an election in a landslide, winning the popular vote, winning all 7 swing states, winning 86% of the counties in the United States. That's why those maps that you see are all red. And so they tried to put me in jail. And I shouldn't feel this way, but I feel badly that they have to go through that. But then I say, but they did far worse than me. They wanted to put me in jail. Think of it. I was a very good president. We had a great first term. Rebuilt the military, biggest tax cuts ever, biggest regulation cuts ever. But, I will say this. I think I can say, what do you think, Lindsay? My second term is blowing my first term away. And my first term was really good.
Reagan plus.
Reagan plus, yeah. Well, whatever. Thank you very much, everyone.
All right, man. He dipped right on time. Let's see if he takes any more questions out there. We got about a minute. It's pretty combative as the president typically wants to take a victory lap over the budget bill getting signed. The Democrats didn't get their shutdown but about 10 minutes, and a lot of their pet projects did get defunded in this bill. And so the reporters, they go back to Epstein. We had a 3 million page document dump. There is nothing they can use against this guy on Epstein. So now then they go into guilt. This resting bitch face woman at CNN goes into, well, 2 of your people, Elon Musk was in there. There was nothing about Elon. Elon Musk came out with a full statement as to why anything about that was incorrect. And they just do this innuendo on a regular basis because a lot of their, really, a lot of their viewers are illiterate. I'm not saying illiterate. Illiterate means you don't know how to read. Illiterate means you don't read. They just don't read. They're not consumers of details or facts or logic or any of that stuff. They just listen to that tripe stuff and just spit it back out and go post about it and live in their own world. But you know what? Thumbs up on the president today, getting this, getting his goofy guys in the Senate to do the right thing for once. Now, pass the SAVE Act, waiting on that. TikTok, waiting on that. Come on, where you at? TikTok,